Nicole, that was fantastic. And I've got 2 questions to ask you for our, I guess, premium subscribers on the podcast. How do you explain what you do? How would you explain it to a 6-year-old?
I will say I am the person who comes in when there's an argument and tries to get the people to play nicely.
I love that. As nice as possible.
As nice as possible.
Very good. That's simple enough. I love that. And I guess the last question, what advice would you give to your younger self, and when would you give yourself this advice? What age would you be?
Yeah, look, I've been thinking about that because I think there's so many pieces of advice I'd give my younger self. I think a really big one would be to worry less about what other people think about you. Try to build your confidence earlier. You're not going to be liked by everybody, but you also don't need to be liked by everybody. And just focus on doing what you are keen to do and find ways that you can keep doing that.
Fantastic. It sounds like you'd give that as early as possible, maybe when you're even 2 or 3.
Absolutely. Probably high school. I'm guessing I'd probably start with that in high school.
High school, I think that's the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. High school's very different now than when we were in high school. I think it's much harder to be a teenager in the digital world where everything's on record.
I think there's a lot more challenges, absolutely. And, it's interesting. I've got 3 teenagers now, so I watch them going through that. Luckily, none of them are too into the social media. But
good.
It's the lack of face-to-face communication. My boys will sit there and game with people and they say they're catching up with their friends, but they're actually only talking to them via headphones and speakers. I'm like, that's not catching up with your friends.
No.
So it is a very different world.
Definitely. And I know some of the language and stuff that can be used on those real-time games can be quite jarring if you haven't heard it before, but they're blowing off steam, which is the most important thing.
Yeah. And look, over lockdown, it was an absolute lifesaver for them that they could socialise in that way, whereas, we wouldn't have been able to do that if we'd had lockdowns when we were younger. And Absolutely. I'm just a little bit older than you, but, there was definitely none of that going on.
No, definitely not.
And you could only play Atari for so long.
Oh, how good was Atari? My goodness. Absolutely. Along came Atari. But Nicole, you're an absolute gem. The law world and mediation world is blessed to have you working as an advocate and for your clients. And thank you so much again for joining us today.
Thanks again, Cullen. It's been really nice chatting.
Nice chatting. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks for joining LawLive.